I never thought I'd end up writing something like this, but here I am, trying to make sense of what just shattered my entire world. My name's David, and I was married to Emily for about 5 years. We had what looked like a perfect life on the outside. Nice house, good jobs, a social circle that thought we were the definition of couple goals. But behind closed doors, things weren't exactly perfect. I always had this nagging feeling that something was off, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Emily is the kind of woman who's always been a little bitchy, sharp-tongued, and stubborn. She's the queen of lying when she's caught in a corner, and she's good at it too. She would swear up and down that she was just busy, or working late, or hanging out with her sister. And honestly, sometimes I believed her because I didn't want to see the truth. But over the last year, her behavior started to change. She was more secretive with her phone, always holding it tight whenever I was around, and that weird, guilty look she'd get when I caught her texting. It all came to a head about a week ago. I was sitting at home, planning to propose that weekend, had the ring, candles, everything set up. I was about to get down on one knee when I noticed a message pop up on her phone. It was from her sister, Lisa. At first, I thought it was just a friendly happy birthday or some family joke. But then I saw a line that made my stomach drop. It was something about, you know what we did last night. Can't believe we pulled it off again. That was weird enough, but what really hit me was the fact that she'd been out late that night, way later than she usually was. I didn't open the message right away. Instead, I froze. My mind started racing, trying to figure out what they could have possibly done. I felt this cold knot forming in my chest. Then, I remembered the odd way Emily had been acting in the days leading up to this. She'd been more irritable, snapping at me over small things and lying about where she'd been. She said she was out with her friends, but her phone was secretive, and she'd often hide it when I came close. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at her, trying to read her face, but she was sleeping peacefully as if nothing was wrong. I had an emergency instinct to check her phone again, just to see if I missed anything. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop myself. So I grabbed her phone while she was asleep, holding my breath, and unlocked it. There it was, a hidden folder, a secret app, whatever you want to call it, full of messages, pictures, and some very inappropriate conversations. I scrolled through, feeling my heart pounding so hard I thought it might jump out of my chest. The messages weren't just flirtatious, they were explicit. She'd been having sex with someone else, and I could tell it wasn't just a one-time thing. It had been going on for weeks. And guess who she was cheating with? My own brother, Mike. The bastard. The one person in my family I trusted more than anyone. That's when everything clicked. The late nights, the secretive texts, the nervousness I'd sensed, they all led to this. I felt a mixture of shock, anger, and utter betrayal. My mind raced with questions. How long has this been going on? Was I just blind? Did she ever love me? I sat there staring at her phone in disbelief, realizing our entire life, our love, our future, was just a lie spun by her and Mike. I kept thinking about that moment, the day I was supposed to propose. It was supposed to be perfect. Instead, I found out that the woman I loved, the woman I wanted to spend my life with, had been sleeping with my brother behind my back. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I just sat there numb, trying to process this chaos swirling in my mind. After I finished reading all those conversations, after seeing her admit to cheating and talking about their sex like it was some kind of sick game, I felt my stomach turn inside out. I didn't even know what to feel anymore. Anger, heartbreak, disbelief, all mashed into one giant, overwhelming mess. I thought about confronting her right then, but part of me needed a moment to breathe, to think about what I was actually going to say. I slipped her phone back onto the nightstand, got up slowly, and moved to the kitchen. I just stood there, arms crossed, staring at the wall, trying to block out the chaos in my head. I was furious, furious at her for lying, for cheating, for betraying everything we had built. But underneath that, I felt this crushing sadness. I'd spent years thinking we had something real, something solid. And now I realized how stupid I'd been to trust her so blindly. I decided I needed to confront her that morning. No more hiding, no more pretending I didn't know. I went back into the bedroom and woke her up. She looked groggy, still half asleep, like she had no idea what I was about to drop on her. I could see her eyes darting around, trying to gauge what I knew. I looked her straight in the face and said, "Emily, I know what you did. I saw the messages with Mike." Her face instantly turned defensive, her bitchy attitude kicking in. "David, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not what it looks like. You're overreacting. It's just sex, it doesn't mean anything," she snapped, trying to brush it off like it was nothing. But I wasn't buying her bullshit anymore. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Don't lie to me. I saw everything. All those texts, all those nights. How could you do this to me? How could you sleep with my brother?" Her eyes flashed with anger and her tone got even bitchier. "Oh, please, you're making a big deal out of nothing. It was just sex, and it doesn't mean I don't love you. It's not like I planned for this to happen. It's not like I meant for it to get so out of control." She paused, then added, "And honestly, Mike and I are bored with each other. It's just sex, just a mistake, okay? It doesn't mean anything." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Her excuse was so typical. She was a master at twisting things around, making herself the victim. I felt a surge of rage. How could she be so callous, so dismissive of what she did? I told her, "A mistake. You think cheating on me with my own brother is just a mistake? That doesn't even make sense. You lied to my face for months. You turned my world upside down. And now you're telling me it's just sex." That's a slap in the face. Her response was to get even more bitchy. "You're overreacting, David. I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. I swear I never wanted this to happen. I love you. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry, okay? I'll do anything to fix this." I wanted to smash something. I felt every ounce of my control slipping away. How could she say she loved me after everything? After sleeping with my brother? I looked at her, feeling this incredible mix of heartbreak and rage boiling inside me. I knew I couldn't just brush this off or pretend it didn't happen. The damage was done, and I needed to figure out what to do next. But I also knew one thing for sure. I couldn't trust her anymore. Not after this. Not ever. The confrontation left me drained, but I knew I couldn't just let her get away with this. Not without some kind of response. I needed to think about what I was going to do next, how I was going to handle the fallout. Emily kept begging, crying, trying to play the victim, like she hadn't just betrayed me in the worst way possible. But I wasn't buying any of her bullshit anymore. The truth was, I was furious, but underneath that I also felt deeply hurt. This wasn't just a little affair, this was betrayal at its worst. I'd always been a good guy, loyal, faithful, and I'd trusted her completely. And now I was supposed to just forgive her. Even after what I saw, I realized I needed to get some space, clear my head, and think about what my next move was going to be. I told her I was going for a walk. I needed to be alone to process everything. As I left the house, I felt a strange mixture of anger and sadness. I kept replaying the images of those messages, her words, Mike's stupid smile, and those pictures they took together. It was like a punch in the gut every time I remembered. The worst part was knowing she had lied to me all this time, pretending everything was fine. That she loved me. That it was just sex. Like I was some idiot who couldn't see through her lies. I walked for a while, trying to think straight, trying to decide what to do. I knew I couldn't stay in that house, not after what I'd found out. I called my best friend Jake and told him everything. I needed someone to talk to, someone who wouldn't sugarcoat things or tell me I should just forgive her. Jake listened quietly, then said, "Dude, this is fucked up. You gotta think about yourself first. Do you want to stay with someone who lies and cheats on you with your own brother?" That question hit me hard. Honestly, I didn't know the answer at that moment. Later that evening, I went back home. Emily was still there, sitting on the couch, acting like she hadn't just ripped my world apart. I looked at her and decided I had to be honest with her about what I was feeling. I told her, "Emily, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can stay here and pretend like everything's okay after knowing what I know. I need time to think, to figure out what I want. But one thing, for sure, trust is gone. You betrayed me in every possible way." She looked at me, her bitchy attitude returning, and snapped, "Fine, do whatever you want. I don't need you. I never needed you." That was the moment I realized how cold she'd become. Like all the guilt and remorse had been replaced with defiance. She was trying to turn it around, make me the bad guy, but I knew better. I knew that no matter what she said now, she had already destroyed what we had. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how everything had changed in just a few days. I'd gone from planning a proposal to wondering if I should even stay in this marriage. The pain was so raw I felt like I was drowning. I kept asking myself if I'd ever be able to trust anyone again, or if I was destined to be alone forever after this. But deep down, I knew one thing. I was done. Done with her lies, her betrayal, her excuses. I would figure out what was best for me, even if it meant starting over from scratch. The days that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and endless thinking. Every time I looked at her, I saw that message, that betrayal in her eyes or in her silence. I'd never felt so hurt and angry at the same time. It was like a part of me had been ripped out and I was left holding the pieces. I kept replaying everything. The way she lied about her whereabouts, her constant bitchiness, her dismissiveness. It all pointed to one thing. I couldn't trust her anymore and I couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies. I started to make plans. First, I called a lawyer. I knew I needed to understand my legal options, especially since we had some joint assets and a house to consider. I wasn't thinking about reconciliation anymore. I was done being the fool. I also decided to move out temporarily. I needed space, and more than anything, I needed to get away from her toxicity. The thought of her staying in that house with my brother made me sick. Every time I imagined the two of them snickering or acting like nothing had happened, it made my blood boil. My mind kept circling back to the moment I found out. How I felt that initial gut punch of shock, then the deep, searing pain of betrayal. How I'd trusted her, loved her. And she'd been sleeping with my own brother behind my back. The worst part was the knowledge that she'd lied to us both. She lied to me about her feelings, about her intentions, and clearly she didn't care who she hurt in the process. It was all about her, her pleasure, her secrets. I couldn't believe I missed all those warning signs for so long. One thing I kept telling myself was that I had to stay strong. I couldn't let her see how much this was breaking me. I kept my emotions bottled up, but inside I was a mess. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and honestly, pretty stupid for trusting her at all. The only thing I knew for sure was that I needed to move on, even if it meant starting over alone. I couldn't stay married to someone who thought cheating was just a mistake and who could lie so effortlessly. That night, I sat down with my phone and drafted a breakup message, telling her I was done, that I couldn't keep pretending. I told her I needed time to heal, to figure out what I wanted from life, and I made it clear that I never wanted to see her again. The next morning, I woke up to her calling me, sounding frantic. She begged me to come back to talk, to try and fix things. Her voice was all fake sincerity, but I could hear the bitchiness underneath. I told her, "Emily, it's over. I'm not coming back. You cheated on me with my brother, and honestly, you broke me. You lied for months. I don't think I can ever trust you again, and I don't want to be in a relationship where I have to look over my shoulder all the time." I could hear her yelling, calling me selfish, saying I was overreacting, but I didn't care. I knew what I had to do. I had to walk away for my own sanity. As I hung up, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief because I finally saw things clearly, and sadness because I realized I'd lost someone I once loved deeply. But I also knew that staying would only mean more pain. The betrayal had cut too deep, and I had to protect myself now. I reached out to a friend who helped me find a place to stay. Temporarily. I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but I was determined to start healing, even if it meant facing loneliness and heartbreak. Looking back now, I realize how naive I'd been, trusting someone so completely, only to find out they could throw it all away for a quick affair with my own brother. It was a hard lesson, but one I had to learn. I don't regret ending it. I just wish I'd seen the truth sooner. If there's anything I've learned from all this, it's that you have to value yourself, set boundaries, and never ignore the red flags. Because if you do, you might wake up one day with your entire life turned upside down, and that's a pain you can't really prepare for. The aftermath of the breakup hit me harder than I expected. For days, I felt like I was walking around in a fog, trying to piece together my life from the wreckage she left behind. I kept thinking about the future I had envisioned, our plans, her smile, the idea of growing old together, and how it all vanished in an instant. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It felt like a rug had been pulled out from under me, leaving me to stumble in the dark. I threw myself into figuring out what comes next. I started by packing up what little of her stuff I could find. Honestly, I just wanted to get rid of everything that reminded me of her. The clothes, the jewelry, even the stupid little souvenirs. I didn't want her scent lingering in my house anymore, didn't want to wake up every morning with that heavy feeling in my chest. It was my way of reclaiming some control, even if it was just over my space. Meanwhile, news of what she did started to spread among friends and family. Honestly, I didn't care much about their opinions, but I knew it was inevitable. Some people were disappointed, some were sympathetic, but all of them kept telling me I deserved better. I appreciated that, but honestly, I didn't even know what I deserved anymore. All I knew was I was angry at her, at Mike, at myself for trusting so blindly. I kept asking, how did I miss all the signs? How did I not see this coming? It was a lot of self-blame mixed with the raw pain of betrayal. One thing I realized was that I had to stop contact with her completely. No calls, no texts, no social media stalking, nothing. I needed space to heal, to process the whole mess. I started seeing a therapist because I knew I couldn't get through this alone. Talking about it helped. Sometimes I'd cry, sometimes I'd just rant, but it kept me from sinking into a pit of despair. I also started going to the gym more regularly. It was a way to channel all that anger and frustration into something productive. I didn't want to be that guy who let betrayal destroy him. One of the toughest parts was dealing with the betrayal by my own brother. I kept replaying all the good moments, all the times I'd shared with Mike, times I'd thought were special. And now I saw that it was all a lie, a sick game they played behind my back. I couldn't even look at him without feeling this surge of disgust. I'd never trusted him again, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I'd ever forgive him. The pain of knowing someone so close could do something so cruel was almost worse than what Emily did. It made me question everything about family, trust, and loyalty. During this time, I also started to think about whether I should try to rebuild my life or just start over completely. I knew I couldn't stay in the house anymore. It felt like a prison of betrayal. So I looked into renting a new place, somewhere I could breathe without that lingering sense of betrayal. I knew that moving away, even for a little while, would help me gain some perspective. It was time to detach myself from everything that reminded me of her and the nightmare she created. In the end, I realized I had to choose myself first. I no longer wanted to be the guy who got played, who accepted cheating and lies. I owed it to myself to heal and move on, whether that meant finding someone new someday or just learning to be alone and okay with it. I've learned that trust is fragile, and once broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, capable of surviving the worst betrayal and still coming out the other side. And that, honestly, is what's kept me going these days. Now, looking back, I realize that this whole experience has changed me in ways I never expected. I used to believe in love and trust, in the idea that if you gave someone your heart, they would cherish it. But betrayal like this, especially on the scale I faced, shatters those illusions. It's like the ground just crumbled beneath my feet, and I had to rebuild my entire sense of self from scratch. I've learned that sometimes people you trust the most can turn out to be your biggest enemies, and that red flags aren't always obvious until it's too late. I've come to accept that I'll probably never fully forget what happened, how betrayed I felt, how humiliated I was. But I also know that I have a choice. I can either let this destroy me or use it as a catalyst to become stronger. I've decided to focus on myself, on healing, and on moving forward. I've started to rebuild my confidence, and I've realized that I don't need those who betrayed me to be part of my life anymore. I've learned to set boundaries, to trust my instincts, and to never ignore the warning signs again. This whole ordeal has taught me the importance of self-respect. No one should tolerate lies, cheating, or betrayal, no matter who they are. I don't regret the time I spent with Emily because it taught me what real loyalty and honesty mean. Now, I value those qualities even more. I've come to see that the most important relationship I have is with myself. And I owe it to myself to be better, to be smarter, and to never let anyone diminish my worth again. To anyone out there who's going through something similar, trust me, you're not alone. It hurts like hell and it feels like your world is falling apart. But with time, patience, and a lot of self-love, you'll get through it. You'll find your strength again, even if you never saw it coming. And one day, you'll look back and see this nightmare as a chapter you survived, not the end of your story. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can truly heal and move on is you. And no betrayal can take away your resilience unless you let it.